So Hillary Clinton won Nevada by about 5 points. Now, that happened a while back, so why are we reporting about the Nevada caucus today? Because it turns out wrong! Bernie Sanders comes from behind and wins Nevada. How in the world did that happen? So these caucuses are enormously confusing, and hence, the graphic you're seeing here. What happens in Vegas? Well, I'm going to explain for you guys. So first you have the voting. And there again, Hillary Clinton did win the votes. But now that gets us to the second round of what happens. And we go to the Las Vegas Sun to report what happened over the weekend in Nevada. The final delegate count in Clark County, that's the largest county in Nevada, was 2,964 for Sanders and 2,386 for Clinton. What? That means the Sanders campaign will send 1,613 delegates to the state convention, while the Clinton campaign will send 1,298. God, there's so many numbers there that make no sense because of these caucuses. Now, the caucuses have gone for Bernie Sanders, so if you're a Sanders supporter, you love caucuses, but boy, they are confusing and needlessly so. Let's just be honest about that. And in May, they're going to have another convention where these delegates then go and vote for what is ultimately the delegates that Nevada sends to vote overall for the nation. It's horribly complicated and bureaucratic. But I'm going to break it down for you guys because this next part basically explains it, okay? They say now nearly 9,000 delegates were elected on caucus day in late February. So that's where Hillary Clinton won the vote. But only 3,825 showed up to Saturday's convention. An additional 915 elected alternates and 604 unelected alternates also turned out to support their favorite candidate. Okay, now forget about the alternate delegates, so that makes it even more confusing. The bottom line is, yes, Hillary Clinton won more delegates in February, but those delegates have to actually show up and vote for her over the weekend, right? And they didn't. So that's why Bernie Sanders won, because more of his delegates showed up. Now, if you're in the Hillary Clinton campaign, you are unhappy about that. You feel like that's unfair. Well, what the hell? We won the election, and now, all this time later, those specific delegates that were picked in the room didn't show up. That's not right. On the other hand, the Sanders camp would say, hey, wait a minute. First of all, this is the process. If you didn't like the process, you should have complained about it before, not try to change the rules after. And the Clinton campaign did try to frantically change the rules day of. We'll get to that in a second, what a mess that caused. And secondly, the Sanders camp would say, well, that shows you that Hillary Clinton doesn't have that many supporters on the ground. They're not that excited about her. I know from our coverage, when our reporter Jordan Chariton's out in the field, Bernie Sanders supporters are significant. They're real people from all walks of life. When you go talk to Hillary Clinton supporters, number one, the Hillary campaign usually doesn't let you talk to their supporters, which is very bizarre. Right? Why aren't you proud of your supporters? Number two, when you do talk to them, you find out, oh, they're almost all union guys. So most of the unions have backed Hillary Clinton, and they bring out their people. They're very good at organizing. They bring out their people with the Hillary Clinton signs. Now that we found real Hillary Clinton supporters, and you can go on TYT Politics and see what they had to say. I found one lady compelling. She said, I don't want a revolution. I just want nice and easy. I want Hillary Clinton. Okay, fair enough, right? But here, the Sanders camp says, well, it cost you that you don't have real supporters. Now, that people came in and voted in February, they were real, right? But they weren't enthusiastic enough to show up when it mattered. So that is also part of the democratic process. And in the caucuses, it is. I'm not sure it should be. I am a little disconcerted that Hillary Clinton won the vote, and now all of a sudden she didn't, right, because of this convoluted process. But it does certainly measure, enthusiasm on the ground. And by the way, if you live in a caucus state, make sure if you're a delegate that you go and show up and vote. If you're a Hillary Clinton delegate and you didn't like how this turned out, well, make sure you show up in whichever state convention is going on near you. If you're a Bernie Sanders delegate, well, you got to be enormously psyched about this because it turns out your enthusiasm made a difference. Okay, so by the way, it wasn't just the largest county. U.S. Uncut also reports that the other most populous county in Nevada, Washoe County, ended with 1,050 delegates for Sanders and 833 for Clinton. So it turns out two biggest counties now in Nevada have flipped over. They're for Bernie Sanders, and he will very likely win the state overall. Okay, now we get to the second part of the story, which is the controversy that ensued because the Clinton team didn't like where this was going and decided they were going to take it out on some people, but predominantly on Christine Kramer, who's running the process. Now, Kramer decided, and this is how it works, there's 4 people running this process. 2 of them are Sanders supporters, 2 of them are Clinton supporters, for it to be fair and equal. And if they're going to make any decisions, and they're going to have communication back and forth with the Clinton campaign or the Sanders campaign, they have to share that communication with both campaigns so there's not any hint of unfairness, okay, or them picking one side or another. Well, so Kramer does that, and the Clinton campaign flips out. They're like, how dare you share anything with the Sanders campaign that was meant for the Clinton campaign? Well, but those are the rules. Well, they didn't like those rules. So this is what happens next. The CCDP, that's the Clark County Democratic Party, pulled out all the stops to prevent Kramer from participating, even calling the police to remove her from the premises. That was when the other 3 members of the Credentials Committee, including the 2 delegates for Hillary Clinton, linked arms and sat down in the middle of the convention floor in solidarity with Kramer. We even have that picture. Let me show it to you. This is amazing because she is the head of the Credentials Committee. They send in the cops. The Democratic Party does, which is supposed to be neutral, but is obviously massively, completely in favor of Hillary Clinton. They send in cops to arrest the person who made a neutral ruling in this case. By the way, Kramer says, what are you talking about? I voted for Hillary Clinton in 2008 against Barack Obama. He said, some of the Sanders supporters were really mad at me for the rulings I made against them. I'm trying to be neutral here. They send in the cops. But what I love is the 2 Hillary Clinton supporters there that were also part of the committee. They said, no, this is nonsense. I don't care what the powers that be says. We're going to lock arms here. Okay, we're fellow Democrats, we're fellow progressives, and we're not going to let this injustice stand. So more power to them. God bless them for doing that. Get a load of what Angie Sullivan explains. She's one of the members of that Credentials Committee in in Nevada. She said they told her she was trespassing even though she's the Credentials chair and an elected delegate. So rules don't matter if you can just overpower them. By the way, who's directing this? Where did the Democratic Party originally get this note from? They got it from Hillary Clinton's lawyer. Why is the Democratic Party in this county taking orders from Hillary Clinton's lawyer and then sending in the cops to claim that there's trespassing from the committee chair? It's outrageous. You know why? Because they're used to having it their way. Whoa, we run this party. This is our party, not Bernie Sanders' party. I don't care what the votes say. Our party, okay? And if you don't like it, you're going to get arrested. Well, it didn't work this time. Now, look, I told you in the beginning, I think what happened in terms of the voting is convoluted to say the least, and perhaps unfair. She won by 5 points in February, right? So I don't love this process overall. But to try to get the committee head arrested because you don't like the way she's ruling, that's also grossly unfair and gives you a sense of how power hungry they are. They feel like, well, not enough of our delegates showed up, so what? We'll just bully the Credentials Committee into doing exactly what we want, and if they don't do it, we'll arrest them. Luckily, cooler heads prevailed, and it didn't go down that way. Again, thanks to the Hillary supporters on the ground who joined in solidarity with the Sanders supporters to make sure that that injustice did not occur. By the way, if you're wondering if this has ever happened before, yes, in the caucus process, this happens with probably far too much regularity. In 2008, President Obama had the same thing happen in Nevada. Slight different reason for it. Again, Hillary Clinton won more votes than Barack Obama did in 2008 in Nevada, but Barack Obama got more delegates. In that case, it was because of how Nevada counts delegates within their different counties. In this case, it's because of who showed up at this particular event on Saturday. So slightly different reasons, but the same result. Hillary Clinton wins Nevada twice, and yet she gets less delegates each time. If you're in the Clinton camp, I get why you're pissed about that. And then finally, it's also happened on the Republican side in this election. Convention also changed the results of the election contest in the Republican race in Louisiana, U.S. Uncut explains. While Trump came out ahead in the primary itself, due to his lack of underlying party infrastructure, he came out behind in the final delegate selection process. So again, if you're in the Clinton camp, I get why you're mad, but it's not unprecedented, and it is part of the rules and part of how these rules work. So if I was you, I would fight hard to change those rules so you don't have this kind of result again. But for the moment being, those are the rules, and that's what it will stand in Nevada.